Gasol, not able to hit. Oh, it's Giannis with the lob, putting it down. Antetokounmpo. Bledsoe, right on. By Kawhi Leonard, 35 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. Fred VanVleet on fire. And Toronto has taken a 3-2 lead.
The Toronto Raptors walked off the court after losing Game 2 to the Milwaukee Bucks by 22 points, knowing something had to change. "We just weren't quite physical enough," Coach Nick Nurse said. "We weren't getting our screens set good enough. We weren't getting them off their screens good enough as well. We're going to have to be better, or they're just going to look bigger and stronger than we are, and I don't necessarily think that's the case. We've got to play a little tougher." Nurse wanted the Raptors to be more physical, play with more effort, and not make the game so easy for the Bucks, especially on defense against Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo and Milwaukee's three-point shooters. But that wasn't all. Starting with Game 3, Nurse made Toronto star Kawhi Leonard spend more time defending Antetokounmpo. He gave more playing time to Norman Powell, and surprising everyone who watched this series, Raptors guard Fred VanVleet summoned his best Steph Curry impersonation and couldn't miss from three-point range. Combine all that, and it explains how the Raptors turned a 2-0 series deficit in a 4-2 victory in the Eastern Conference Finals and a spot in the NBA Finals. Toronto finished off the Bucks with a 100-94 victory in Game 6 on Saturday. Here's how the Raptors turned around the series. Toronto's defense: in Milwaukee's 2 victories, it shot 42.5% on three-pointers, making 11 threes in the first game and 13 in the second. In the next 4 games, the Bucks shot 32.6% on threes, including 14% in the fourth quarter. The Raptors made it more difficult on Milwaukee's shooters, who sometimes missed open shots and sometimes were defended well. Eric Bledsoe and Ersan Ilyasova were 22.2% on threes in the 4 losses, Malcolm Brogdon 31.8% and Nikola Mirotic 16.7%. It's searching for the right guys and the matchups and some of the actions that were giving us problems, searching for some different coverages and things, Nurse said earlier in the series. In Game 4, the Bucks scored just 18 points in the final 14-10, shooting 7 for 3 from the field and 0 for 10 on three-pointers. Toronto cranked up the defensive pressure, trailing 76-61 late in the third quarter of Game 6, taking the lead for good early in the fourth. Leonard averaged 29.5 points, series best, 9.5 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 2.2 steals and 1 block while shooting 44.2% from the field. In the fourth quarter, he averaged 6.8 points and shot 45.5% on three-pointers. Then, he had to expend energy trying to limit Antetokounmpo. The Bucks star got his points, 22.7 per game, but at 44.8% from the field, he was way below his season percentage of 57.8%. Leonard, who is a disruptive defensive force, certainly didn't guard Antetokounmpo every possession, and the Raptors employed a successful double team, making it difficult for Antetokounmpo to find the open teammate. The Raptors made sure he didn't live at the rim or at the foul line. The sample size is small, but when Leonard and Antetokounmpo were on the court at the same time in the final 4 games of the series, the Bucks scored 99.2 points per 100 possessions in 142 minutes, according to NBA.com/stats. It's just his willingness to win and him grabbing those rebounds and willing those shots in almost it seems like, and going down and locking up somebody and taking the ball from them, Nurse said. It's great competitive desire. VanVleet was 3-for-25 from three-point range in the 7-game series against the Philadelphia 76ers and the first 3 games against Milwaukee. Then, his son Fred Jr. was born, and VanVleet couldn't miss. He shot 14 of 17 on three-pointers in the final 3 games of the series, including 4 of 5 in Game 6. He scored 13 21 and 14 points, and the Raptors outscored the Bucks by 65 points with Van Vliet on the court in the final 3 games of the series. Powell played just 10 minutes in the series opener, but in Toronto's Game 2 loss, he played 25 minutes and scored 14 points. Nurse liked Powell's style and continued to play him, 30 minutes in Game 3, 32 in Game 4, 24 in Game 5 and 17 in Game 6. The move worked. Powell averaged 10.7 points off the bench and was a big part of Toronto's bench, outscoring Milwaukee's 142-115 in the Raptors' 4 victories. After Game 2, Nurse said, "I had planned on using him a lot more in the rotation. He fits in this series a little more with his speed and strength and athleticism, his ability to take it off the bounce. We're going to need that. It was good to get him going, and I would imagine going forward he'll be a critical part of the series for our rotation."